Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call to order our regular City Council meeting for Tuesday, July 17th, 2018. Would everyone please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome. It's always awesome to have a packed house to celebrate members of our community and other stuff. Roll call, please.
Mayor Mays.
Here.
Council President Garland.
Here.
Councilor Young. Here. Councilor Grouse. Here. Councilor Griffin.
Here.
Councilor Rosner.
Here.
And Councilor Kuiper is absent.
Thank you, Sylvia. Approval of the agenda.
I move approval of the agenda. Second.
Discussion. All in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Now we have a consent agenda, A through J. Discussion on the consent agenda? Or a motion on the consent agenda?
I move consent.
Second.
Second. Discussion. Before we vote, I think it's important, it's a long list of consent agenda items, that we read off the title of each item on the consent agenda, and Josh has volunteered our legal intern, Carly. Are you in the house? Come on up, Carly.
Are you going to make her read them?
Yeah, Josh insisted. She gets to do two things today that she hasn't done before. She's going to present something later on, but today she is also going to read each item on the consent agenda so we all know what's being voted in one fell swoop. Welcome.
As a list? Or
Just go. Item A, approve, blah, 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 then resolution, blah, 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 blah.
Item A, approval of June 12th, 2018
Microphone.
City Council meeting minutes.
You can adjust it down to your...
Approval of June 18th, 2018 City Council meeting minutes. Item C, approval of June 19th, 2018 City Council meeting minutes. Item D, resolution 2018-061, authorizing the city manager to amend the existing contract with Wood Environment and Infrastructure Solutions to increase the contract amount for environmental consultant services associated with the Tannery Brownfield site assessment. Item E, resolution 2018-062, authorizing the city manager to sign agreements with Washington County for a community development block grant for improvements to the Marjorie Stewart Senior Center. Item F, resolution 2018-063, authorizing the city manager to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Oregon acting through its Office of Secretary of State for Oregon Records Management Solution, and authorizing the execution of a subscription services contract with Chavez Consulting for HPRM software. Resolution 2018-064, authorizing city manager to enter into contract with House Deeds Arboricultural Center Consultants Incorporated for certified arborist and tree services. Resolution 2018-069, reappointing Paul Mayer to the Budget Committee. Resolution 2018-70, reappointing Amy Kutsky to the Budget Committee. Resolution 2018-071, reappointing Kurt Sutter to the Budget Committee.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, you're not with us for very much longer, correct?
Correct. Until the
And because you're returning to Lewis and Clark Law School. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Was that just because you didn't want to read them all?
No.
Yeah.
I wanted to volunteer Josh initially, and then he's
That's right. Mayor, I have an edit to one of the meeting minutes.
Oh.
It's a slight.
Scribner error.
Yeah. Should I?
You just mentioned Sylv. She'll or mention it now, and she'll update it.
Oh,
we don't
okay.
have to. We don't have to unless it's substantial. We don't have to.
No, it's about. In the minutes, it said that I announced that Hello Dolly would be performed at Stella Olson during the Robin Hood Festival. It was 2 weeks ago. It was performed, so I don't know how that got mixed up in the minutes, but so not a big deal.
Okay.
But it's been said.
Awesome.
I'll give it to you. That's it.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Carly. Next item on the agenda is citizen comment. Time to address council, ask questions of any concern you might have. And we have one. Anthony Stewart. I think I might have your last name wrong.
No, you pronounced it correctly.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome, Anthony.
Good evening, council. My name is Anthony Stewart. I've appeared in front of the board, or excuse me, this council a few different times.
Great. Pull the mic over to you if you would.
Work with city staff pretty regularly. I'm a local attorney, and one of my clients happens to be Western Oregon Dispensary. Since I last presented a matter to the board, there's been a somewhat of a change in the constituency, so I thought I'd reintroduce it and just give an update in a process that we've been undertaking. OLCC has now taken dual regulatory control along with OHA for, the Oregon Health Authority for adult use and recreational marijuana products in the state of Oregon. One thing that we've been working with the city and the Planning Commission for is to recognize the expansion of OLCC into covering exclusively medical providers like the one dispensary that's here in town. If anybody has any questions, Mr. Soper and a lot of the staff I've worked with and can get in touch with me, I'm happy to. We're as open as possible. We really appreciate it. Just, I believe it was last month at the city law enforcement charity event. Western Oregon is one of the biggest supporters and continues to want to do everything as possible to be transparent with the city. We appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, the staff knows how to get in touch with me.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Anyone else like to address council that hasn't already filled out a form? All right, we will move on to presentations. Fun stuff. First, swearing in of a couple of Sherwood police officers. Chief Groth.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm going to ask Officer Alex Salisbury and Officer Jeremiah Baker to come up to the hot seats. And as they do, I'll just remind Council that these two officers were hired to fill vacant positions. So oftentimes we will do this and folks will say, oh, did we get new officers? So these are not new positions. These were positions that were vacated.
We're kid friendly.
These three officers, no. But these were two positions that were vacated by departure. So with that, I'm going to have Officer Salisbury start and just introduce any family they want to and give a kind of a brief bio, and then we'll go from there.
Do you want me to face this way or this way?
However you want, just so long as you hit the mic.
All right.
So it might be best to just, look straight ahead.
Okay. Perfect. So I'm Alex Salisbury. I have lived in the Sherwood area for about 11 years. I first came here in 2007 as a newlywed to my wife Candace, who's right here. And we kind of came to Sherwood by accident, believe it or not. I was accepted at George Fox University, and I was finishing my bachelor's degree at the time. And Sherwood's just where we landed, and we stayed. We loved this area from the minute we were here. And through various kind of turns between 2007 and now, I've served as a volunteer firefighter, and I serve now currently with TVFR here at Station 33 as a volunteer firefighter. And because I was with Newburgh Fire before, and actually should recognize Chief Les Hallman, who's here with TVFR, who was formerly the chief of Newburgh, and he was my chief, so he's here to support me as well. So through all that, I decided I wanted to pursue a career in law enforcement. I have had a really good friend who's also here. His name's Officer Jench. He's your canine handler for the city of Sherwood, a good mentor of mine. And I was hired at the Salem Police Department in 2016, and I worked there up until this week. And a couple of years experience as a police officer, and it just didn't make sense for me to drive anymore when we knew we were never going to move from Sherwood. So it just made sense to work where we live, and I'm very excited to be here and very excited to serve my friends and neighbors and community members here in Sherwood. I couldn't think of a better fit, honestly. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Welcome. And
this is Harper, sorry. This is my 2.5-year-old daughter. So
hi, Harper. Awesome.
Okay, Jeremiah, you're up.
Let's see. If you're just looking at back half of the room, that's everybody. I got my uncles and everyone. I'm from Southeast Portland. Being in law enforcement is something I've always wanted to do. My dad's a sergeant in Washington County. My uncle's a police officer for the Port of Portland. And falling in the family business is something that I've always wanted to do. And I'm very excited to now live on this side of town and be a part of the community and get after it. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Short and simple.
Wonderful.
All right. Okay, Alex, why don't you come up here? Oh, and by the way, anybody that wants to take pictures, go wherever you need to. If you want to stand up, get closer. Come a little bit closer. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Alex Salisbury,
I, Alex Salisbury,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and abide
that I will support and abide
by the Constitution and laws
by the Constitution and laws
of the United States and of the state of Oregon,
of the United States and the state of Oregon,
that I will uphold and enforce
that I will uphold and enforce
the laws of the state of Oregon,
the laws of the state of Oregon,
the ordinances of the city of Sherwood,
the ordinances of the city of Sherwood,
and the rules and regulations of the Sherwood Police Department,
and the rules and regulations of the Sherwood Police Department,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
during my continuance therein,
during my continuance therein,
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Congratulations. Okay. We're going to have some help with the badge pinning. There you go, ma'am.
Push real hard.
And yeah, you can always latch it later, as long as it's hanging there. There you go. Congratulations, Alex. Okay. So you got to see it practiced, so it should be easier for you,
Now
right?
wait, pause. Sorry, Chief. You got a lot of folks coming up front to give them the adequate time for photos. Is everyone turned right, Dad? Awesome.
Okay. Are we ready now?
It's important.
I, Jeremiah Baker,
I, Jeremiah Baker,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and abide
that I will support and abide
by the Constitution and laws
by the Constitution and laws
of the United States and of the state of Oregon,
of the United States and the state of Oregon,
that I will uphold and enforce
that I will uphold and enforce
the laws of the state of Oregon,
the laws of the state of Oregon,
the ordinances of the city of Sherwood,
the ordinance of the city of Sherwood,
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
of the Sherwood Police Department,
of the Sherwood Police Department,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
during my continuance
during my continuance
therein,
therein,
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. I won't hurt myself there, so
Now again, be ready for the photo op properly.
go wherever you need to.
Jeremiah, who's pinning that on you?
My father.
Welcome.
You got a pen? If you'll sign that.
Well, Alex and Jeremiah, on behalf of the City Council and the community as a whole, welcome. We're thrilled to have you as part of the team and part of the family. Yeah.
Just some minor paperwork, and then we'll be out of your hair.
It's quite all right. more time for Alex and Jeremiah. Awesome. Next, we want to recognize some of our outstanding young adults of our community. Each year we have the privilege of acknowledging lots of young adults, and tonight will be the first of two nights we'll recognize folks that have a perfect grade point average for last academic year in high school. Now you'd think, wow, that's not easy to do. It can't be that many. We had 150 at Sherwood High last year. Perfect grades. An incredible accomplishment. And I'm sure your parents are very proud. You should be proud of yourself. We as a community, city council, we're also certainly proud of you. And keep it up. Your futures are bright. And have fun as well. And plan a career that you enjoy. And your future is going to be outstanding. So what we like to do is have all council come around to the front, and we're going to line up. Our city manager, Joe Gall, is going to call a name from those that have RSVP'd for tonight. So I'll have some more coming next month. Come up, come down the line, shake everybody's hand. We'll get you a certificate, and if parents want to take photos, you can take photos all you want, mill about all you want. And then when we're done, if you're here and you did not RSVP, if you don't hear your name called, let us know, and we'll get your certificate, and we'll recognize you tonight as well, since you're here. So, council, would anyone like to say anything before we go around?
Yeah, cookies and punch afterwards out.
Yeah.
Except for council. Sorry.
Right. We are prohibited from the cookies and punch.
We have work to do, so.
And as we're done, you don't have to feel compelled to stay to the end of the entire meeting. So after we recognize you, feel free to go into the hall, enjoy the cookies and punch, talk amongst yourselves.
But you're welcome to stay.
But you're also welcome to stay. You can return, enjoy the rest of the evening. So here we go.
So as the mayor and council come down, I want to apologize as I read some of the names. I do this every year. I try to do the best I can, but I am destined to mispronounce yours. And I know yours, so.
Top of the list of
Yes.
potential mess up.
Okay, so we're going to start. If Tyler Ford is here, if Tyler can come up.
Walk, Tyler. You the first.
And here we go with an easy name. Thank you. Shoravat Gur. Not bad. Next is Jonah Gent. All right, here's my test. Former counselor. Anna Hieronymus. Is Anna here? Okay. She's trapped.
She didn't want to stay by Dad. Nobody wants to stay by Dad.
Next is Samuel Jewett. Our next student is Sophia Denise Flowers. Bradley Henson. Emily Latwison. Yakan Na. Carrie Nguyen. Emily Pennell. Phoebe Pennell. Sankalp Patil. Morgan Prill. Isabel Robinson. Miles Schultz. I don't think I see Miles. Yep. Leighton Yang. Okay, Counselor Young. I think I got this one down. Andrew Young.
No kiss.
So are there anybody in attendance that didn't RSVP that is here tonight that we can recognize? We still have lots of certificates up here, so. Okay, I think we're all set. So we'll do this again on the August 21st meeting.
How awesome is that?
He's gonna
Wait, he's 18. He may not vote for you. So I'm just saying.
All right, so council, we just recognized some fine young adults, and I don't think we polled the members of council. How many on council had a 4-point grade point average at some point in high school?
So what's next on the?
I'm not saying the entire freshman year or something like that.
Thank you. Yes. At some point.
Did you just raise your hand?
I did.
Wow.
I know that was coming, so I'm not saying I did that, all the time, but I had my moment.
We've got somebody in the audience
I'm
who
truly
can
impressed.
actually verify and confirm all this. So I hope,
Yes,
I hope this is true.
Yes, a historian present, which is awesome. All right, that was great. And we will do this again next month to recognize more of our fantastic young adults in our community. Next, we're going to delay the item C under presentations until a little bit later. But we'll move on to item D, proclamation about the Robin Hood Festival. As we all know, because we're all in tune with coming events, that this weekend is the Robin Hood Festival. And whereas since 1954, the Sherwood Robin Hood Festival has been a long-standing tradition in the city of Sherwood, and whereas the Robin Hood Festival Committee has made up entirely of volunteers from the community who have willingly given countless hours to make this a memorable and successful event for the community, and where the 20th and 21st of July 2018 has been set aside for the Robin Hood Festival Old Town events and parade, and the international archery shoot between the Sylvan Archers of Sherwood and the Nottingham, England Club will be held on the 21st and 22nd of July at Edie Ridge Elementary School. Now therefore be resolved that I, as mayor of the city of Sherwood, do hereby proclaim July 20th to 22nd, 2018 as the Sherwood Robin Hood Festival weekend in the city of Sherwood, and call upon all of our citizens in the surrounding communities to fully participate in all the festival ceremonies, activities, and events. It'll be a lot of fun, starting Friday at 5 at Veterans Park, and continuing on in Old Town until Saturday night late. It'll be a lot of fun. I know most everyone in this room will be volunteering in some capacity through that, so pretty awesome. And the parade, cannot forget the parade, Saturday morning, 10 a.m., going from Century Drive all the way into Old Town and back around. New business. We have several items under new business. First is Resolution 2018-056. Excuse me. My little dyslexia kicked in there. Resolution 2018-065, authorizing a Sherwood Broadband Residential Pilot Program. Brad. Yep. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to adjust the camera. So good evening, Council. The resolution you have before you is to approve a residential internet service pilot project. As you recall, staff held 2 work sessions with Council on this pilot project, where we went over various details of the proposed pilot, including financial details, the benefits, risks, potential service offering, and at the last meeting in May, we went over some very high-level cost analysis, what it would cost to build up the whole city should a pilot project be successful. However, the resolution we have before you is just for the pilot. It's proposed to encompass 11 neighborhoods within Sherwood, as well as any newly constructed neighborhoods that are close to the Sherwood broadband network and easily served. Staff estimates that the pilot project will serve about 600 residents, potential residents, in those 11 neighborhoods. And staff is proposing that to run this pilot project for a period of 2 years to kind of see how the interest in the community is. And at that point, we'd report back to council what we found, as well, and then kind of discuss what the next steps are, if there are any. The funding for the pilot project is going to come purely out of the Sherwood broadband budget. No general fund dollars are expected to be used or will be used. I guess with that, that's what I got. If there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Great. Questions for Brad? And discussion or motion by council?
I have a question.
Question? Councilor Young?
I know some of us have met with Comcast and they sent us an email with some concerns. And so I just wanted to clarify that if 600 customers were to leave Comcast and join our pilot program, we would lose some franchise fees into the general fund. Can you explain that?
Potentially, yeah. There's still some question about whether Comcast is paying franchise on internet service. So if they are, that would potentially wash to Sherwood Broadband. Sherwood Broadband is going to pay the same franchise that all the carriers are in town as well. So yes, it would basically move from one provider to another.
Still going to the general fund?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions or a motion?
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2018-065, authorizing a Sherwood Broadband residential pilot project.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of approving Resolution 2018-065, authorizing Sherwood Broadband Residential Pilot Program, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Brad. Next item, Resolution 2018-066, recommending legislative priorities, League of Oregon Cities for the 2019 legislative session. Joe.
Mayor and Council, this resolution in front of you tonight is kind of the conclusion of a very short process with the council, but a longer process that started this past spring. Every spring prior to a normal general legislative session, so this is the 2019 session, the League of Oregon Cities has different policy committees composed of both appointed and elected officials. There were 8 different policy committees that spent time looking at different proposed bills and coming up with priorities that the League should consider in terms of preparing for the 2019 session. We had a number of city officials from Sherwood participate. Councilor Rosner was, I believe, on a couple policy committees. Chief Growth was on a committee for the first time this year, and I participated on 2 committees as well. Out of that process, there were 28 potential priorities that they basically sent to all of their respective member cities, and they asked for each city to rank the top 4 priorities, and then they also made a later request and asked for your bottom 4 priorities. Our list of priorities is due August 3rd, so we held a work session to discuss the different priorities. There was essentially a consensus among the councilors that formed the basis for this resolution. In the top 4 priorities that the council came up with was PERS reform, mental health investment, property tax reform, and speed cameras. And there's background material on each of those in the packet of materials if the public is interested in seeing more information. The bottom 4 priorities were tobacco taxes share increase, wood smoke reduction program support, carbon cap and trade program adoption, and beer and cider tax increase. So what will happen after you, assuming you approve this resolution, we'll submit Sherwood's priorities to the League. All of the 200 plus cities in the state who are League members are asked to do the same. The League will compile all of the information from its member cities, and the board of directors for the League will develop, based on that input, what the League's top 4 priorities are going into the next session. The issues that don't make the top 4 are still priorities for the League. It's just that we're trying to get the top 4 priorities that they should focus on to achieve success down in Salem next 2019 session. So this is really, like I said, the last step to formalize it as a member city, to have the elected body provide that input to the League of Oregon Cities. be happy to answer any questions council might have.
Questions for Joe? Discussion or motion by council?
I can make a motion. I move we adopt resolution 2018-065 authorizing a Sherwood broadband residential.
Close.
Oh, sorry. Get to the right page. We already got that one done. That was awesome.
He's close.
I am going to make a different resolution.
Different motion?
Yeah, I move. Someone else want to do it?
It's all on camera. You can watch it back later.
Yeah.
Harley, are you available to help counselor?
I would like to make a motion. We adopt resolution 2018-066, recommending legislative priorities to the League of Oregon Cities for the 2019 legislative session.
Excellent. Moved and second. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of approving resolution 2018-066, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Councilor Rosner.
You're welcome.
Item C, under new business, resolution 2018-067, adopting revised mission statement, core values, overarching goals for City Council 2018-19. Joe.
This is also kind of the conclusion of a process that the council's been involved with. Normally, council has their goal setting in the early part of the calendar year, right after the first of the year, usually in January, early February. We had some elections, special elections. We didn't necessarily know who the permanent members of council were going to be for the time period we're looking at. So we delayed that process. We had a day-long, very good session prior to the budget. We didn't complete everything, and then the council got focused on the budget, appropriately so. Then we came back in June and concluded the process. And again, this is a resolution that formally adopts a slightly revised mission statement, some revisions to our core values and our overarching goals, and then some specific work items that council expects to see staff successfully implement during the rest of this calendar, or during the rest of this fiscal year, which just started. So I thought it was a very good process. It was very good to hear from the council as a whole in terms of what your priorities are. They're different than previous councils, and I think that's important for not only the public to know, but for my staff to know what are the priorities of the current members of City Council. So happy to answer any questions. You may want to talk a little bit more about the process if you'd like, more for the public. So
I don't think anybody has questions for Joe. Discussion?
I would just like to say that I felt this goal-setting process went really well, and I was really encouraged by it, what came out of that. And I just want to thank staff, all the staff that participated, that felt like we're all a team working together to accomplish these goals. And I'm glad that a product actually came out of our goal session this year. So.
Awesome. Other comments or?
I guess to add to that, I'd like to do a shout out to Dan Jameson and his assistant Shelby leading us through the process, and staff for being involved as well. It was well worth the time.
Awesome. Just for those watching at home, our mission statement, if adopted, will be provide high-quality services for all residents and businesses through strong relationships and innovation in a fiscally responsible manner. We have 8 core values: citizen engagement, community livability, community partnerships, community pride, physical responsibility, transparent government, quality service, and forward thinking. We have 6 overarching goals that I'll just highlight: economic development, infrastructure, livability, public safety, physical responsibility, and citizen engagement. And I too want to thank Joe and council and staff for the collective effort by everybody to work through a bunch of stuff and come up with this product. It was well done. And by having Dan Jameson as the facilitator, it allowed us to have Joe and other leadership staff engaged through it as well. So great to see. Do I have a motion?
I'll read it.
Okay.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2018-067, adopting revised mission statement, core values, overarching goals, and fiscal year 2018-19 City Council goals.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving Resolution 2018-067, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Joe. Resolution D, item D, Resolution 2018-068, delegating contract authority to the city manager. Carly, you're presenting this. What are we talking about here? Explain it to me and the council, please.
So, as outlined in the staff report that you have, this resolution establishes a written policy that allows the city manager to enter into and approve contracts for under $100,000 without council approval. And this has been the process in the past. It just wasn't formalized. And given that other cities have a similar written policy, the staff felt it was important to formalize it this way.
And does that include other questions for Carly? So does that include Joe wants to buy what does Joe want to buy? Joe wants to buy a pool. We haven't talked about a pool. It's a beautiful blow-up pool for $50,000. Can he do that?
Well, as long as it conforms to all the city and state.
And is in the budget.
Contracting is in the budget, and as long as it's not some form of an intergovernmental agreement for the inflatable pool.
I'm being a pill, and I know it, but that's okay. It's a good learning experience. So awesome. So the important thing is it formalizes Joe, so I think this protects Joe, so it's clear by council ordinance or resolution what his authority is, and he will act on the city's behalf on budgeted items under $100,000. If it's something that a new goal or priority, then Joe will say, hey, what do you think about this? And we'll hear about it. Any other questions for Carly? Come on.
For putting up with Keith.
Yeah, yes, yeah, great job.
Go back and tell all our friends at law school we're never getting another intern.
We've been so nice.
Or
And I think,
today. That's a pretty cool city council. You guys should go.
right. Now, we're thrilled that you've been here, and we're sorry that you're going to be going back to college. You don't need that. You just stay.
Well, her college isn't that far away. She could do both.
Good advice.
Oh,
Finish college.
Finish college.
yes. Yes, your future is bright, and we've been lucky to have you these past weeks, and great job. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Hey, Carly, what are you going to be? Are you going to be an attorney?
Hopefully.
What kind? What kind?
Hopefully public interest to some degree, but hopefully something environmental. But
Oh, awesome. Cool. Thanks.
Good luck.
thank you so much.
So are we off topic of this resolution, or can I ask another question?
No, we're still asking questions.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with this resolution.
Oh, then, if it's to her?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, so Carly, I was just curious, what type of projects did you work on while you were interning here?
Sure. So a lot of looking at our code and comparing it to other city codes, things that that Joe were thinking need to be adjusted. So something like this, kind of looking into what other cities do, and then right now looking into small cell 5G tower stuff. So it's pretty cool. I get to look and see what's the norm in Oregon and how we compare. So that's been interesting.
All right, and what did you find the most interesting?
Probably just this whole process. I've never been to a city council meeting until starting here, so seeing how things go from circulating for edits and the staff reports and then presenting it here and you guys passing it, it's really interesting. I never knew how that worked. So
Awesome.
Hopefully they'll pass it. You never know.
And Josh has been great to work with.
very. So nice.
Yeah, his review's coming up.
Thank you, Councilor Young.
No, very, very helpful. He's great at explaining things because it's all very new to me. So he's very open about just letting me ask a lot of questions and help guide me and giving me feedback. It's been a really great experience. So,
I wouldn't have asked the question if I didn't know the answer.
It's the first rule of being an attorney.
Exactly, which is what I wanted to be originally.
She's done a great job on some research that you'll see later, probably in the fall. So one of the projects that I asked Josh to have her do some research is on, we now have a number of public city-owned parking lots in Old Town primarily that have no rules associated with them. There's no time limits in terms of parking or how long you can park vehicles, and many other cities have rules for their public parking lots, and I think we need to have, we'll probably have a work session with council and generate some ideas, but she did research, very good research on what other cities in the region do in terms of regulating their public parking lots. That's one example of a number, and she's done some great work, so we will miss her.
I'm sure some topics are more interesting than others.
it's all
Believe it or not, she keeps asking for more land use stuff, which
Nice.
is shocking, but fine.
No, land use can be fun.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. Any other questions for Carly? Questions, discussion, comments by council on the proposed resolution? Motion on the proposed resolution.
I'll go ahead and grab this one. I move that we adopt Resolution 2018-068, delegating contract authority to city manager.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor of approving Resolution 2018-068, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Carly. Thank you, council. Two things while we're still under new business. Joe gave everyone a draft letter that I'd like your input on, potential letter to send to Metro regarding food scrap policy that they're going to have a public hearing on in 2 days. And if the council wants to support the letter as written, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to peruse it. Comments, thoughts?
I'll throw one out there. In general, I like the letter a lot, and I tend to agree with all the points made in here. I just want to, from my point of view, I'm in favor of a food scrap program. It is a big contributor of methane in our atmosphere and our dumps. But the way they're going about it, the lack of an economic review, the lack of infrastructure in place to support the program at this point, and most importantly, the requirement that the city adopt an ordinance, I think that's overstepping Metro's bounds to be able to require us to adopt an ordinance.
That is my number one concern with this, is Metro thinking that they can require us to to pass a law. And that is that's my largest problem. Because if they can require this, then they can require something else with ordinances.
You don't want to set that precedent.
Right. And I'm hoping that, in this case, Metro Council President Tom Hughes, former mayor of Hillsborough, and Metro Councilor Craig Dirksen, former mayor of Tigard, can appreciate and understand our position on that and can adjust their proposal after getting good feedback from us, the similar feedback from Hillsborough and Washington County, and I'm sure other cities in the region. But yeah, food scraps. Let's keep working on a good program that we can do. But just like we started with a recycling program that had incentives that we initiated, that was the better model of an approach. Yeah, my 10 cents. So.
Do we make a motion? What do we do?
In here, what did we say here? Yes, so ideally, yes, we'd like to have a motion in support of the letter, so we can actually put it in update the letter, say as much.
Oh, a motion was passed. Got it.
And the reason I'm suggesting that is quite often mayors in the region will send letters as the chief elected official of cities and not speak on behalf of their council, which they shouldn't do. I think it's always better to have a letter that reflects the entire council. It could be signed by the mayor in this case. And that's why we're kind of presenting it to you to see if the rest of council supports what has been drafted in this letter. I think it carries more weight, quite honestly, when it comes from the entire council.
I agree. And when they're kind of this far down the line, they've been working on it for a while, it's like, okay, we really need to give even that much more of a push from everybody.
So seeing that this letter, is it just the city of Hillsborough and Washington County Chair Dyke that are in opposition?
The county board of commissioners, I don't know if they actually voted them, but the Hillsborough, at a minimum, and I have not polled the other cities, but those that I know, I believe they have the topic of metro policy creep, for lack of a better word, is a major topic of conversation amongst mayors and cities in the region.
And among city managers in the region, I think we have similar concerns about what we look at as a more heavy-handed approach. You will pass this ordinance, and if you don't, you may get funds withheld to encourage recycling programs. That seems pretty heavy-handed. And I know city managers in the region have the same concerns about the approach. Very supportive of increasing food scrap recycling in the region. We have a very good voluntary program that's been working, and it's really the approach that this has got some folks ruffled among my peers in the region, as well as some of the comments that Councilor Rosner in terms of an economic cost-benefit analysis and the lack of infrastructure. Requiring folks, Hillsborough is very interested in this because a lot of their haulers would have to drive all the way into Portland on very busy Sunset Highway and traffic, and there are no facilities in western Washington County, and that's why they've been kind of leading the charge.
It creates inequities in terms of cost too for those haulers.
Not only that, but it's all the extra pollution that goes into the air because you're driving way out of your, if they don't have the infrastructure in place first, it just doesn't make sense.
So has there been conversations with the haulers, the different companies?
Yes, the haulers have been involved. This has been going, this particular idea has been discussed for nearly 2 years. Okay. And Metro has received a lot of input from the haulers, from various cities and counties and citizens. But I think the key points that are in the letter that have been outlined seem to be the consistent issues that they're not there yet. They have modified based on input, but they still have this kind of more heavy-handed approach. And that's ruffled some feathers. And I think the mayor's right. If they can do it here, they may do it in other areas that are even more significant. So,
yeah, I absolutely hate the prospect of this becoming the norm from Metro. So, is there a motion to support the letter, or do we want to make changes to the letter? I don't make motions.
I make a motion to
endorse
the letter as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion on the motion to endorse the letter? Seeing none, all in favor of endorsing the letter, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Thank you, Joe. One other item based from the brief work session we had before our meeting. At a previous council meeting, we talked about reviewing the PTO schedule for non-union staff and everything related to the PTO. And long story short, out of the work session, we thought there was value in having a motion out here to form a council subcommittee to look into all the nuts and bolts of PTO. So, is there a motion? First, Josh, what would you prefer the motion to say?
Specify what you want the subcommittee to look at, which you did, the PTO policy for non-union staff, who's on the subcommittee, and what the end product is, which is a recommendation to the city council about PTO policy.
Great. So who wants to take a stab at that motion?
Tim's on a roll.
Thank you, Russell. I will make, I'll make a motion that we form a subcommittee to look at our PTO policy. The goal of the committee will make a recommendation to council once they're finished with their work, and I believe the 3 council members that we're going to have on it will be myself, Councilor Young, and Councilor Browse.
Great. Second.
Moved and second. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor of approving Tim's motion to form a council subcommittee to look into PTO for non-union employees and make a recommendation to council, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. City manager report.
Mayor and Council, I have 2 items briefly to report on. One, I want to remind members of the public we are in the process of recruiting for 3 members to sit on a charter review committee. We are soliciting applications from citizens who would like to delve into the city charter from the beginning to the end and make recommendations to council for possible changes. And then the council could ultimately put potential charter amendments on the ballot and on a future ballot. You had previously passed a resolution. Those application materials are online on the website. Along with the application, they're due on Friday, August 10th, I believe, at 5 o'clock. Councilor Rosner had a great suggestion of reaching out to former alum of the Sherwood Citizens University, and I did reach out to folks, and a couple people have already expressed interest in applying. So I wanted to make sure folks know that that project is on the horizon and there's an opportunity to submit an application. And I know the various boards and commissions are choosing their different representatives to serve on that committee, so pretty excited about everything moving forward. So the other news in town, today a big milestone was reached for our partners at the school district. They picked up their grading permit for the new high school, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but believe me, after over a year of many hurdles and lots of applications and processes, the fact that they can now really start construction on the new high school is a significant milestone, and people will probably, I'm guessing tomorrow, they will be ready to go in terms of, they were ready to go quite some time ago, but the community will really start to see a lot of construction activity at the site of the new high school. And I want to congratulate our partners at the school district and their team, because it was a very arduous process to get to this point. So, so I want to let folks know about that. And we also issued another grading permit for maybe the younger members of the Sherwood population that would be interested, like my kids. The Fun Center over by Walmart on the...
So adults can't have fun?
It's for grown-ups too, but...
Grown-ups can sit in the corner.
That's right.
It's a pretty big corner, but
it's a pretty big corner. So that project,
A racetrack. We have to have like a competition amongst the
Yes.
7 of us.
oh yes.
Don't you think so? Oh, mine staff too.
Unfortunately, that won't be in phase 1.
Yeah, I know.
That'll come in phase 2. But that project, which will include other retail establishments right adjacent to where the Walmart retail complex is, silt fence went up and other things, and construction trucks showed up. So you're going to see lots of activity suddenly on that site, and very noticeable in town. And I know someone will ask the question, what are they building there? I didn't hear about that. So, as well as lots of other construction activity in town. We're very, very busy around town with lots of development activity, which I know everyone knows, driving through town.
questions or anything else?
I didn't have anything else unless you had questions for me.
Questions for Joe? So Joe, as a reminder for the community, how many floors will that big assisted living center next to Providence end up being when it's done?
I believe 3. But it's a large building, in terms of square footage. I think it has 3 large wings, but I believe it's 3 stories is the where it will stop. And I think the other thing that I hear from citizens related to that project, there is a new traffic signal coming.
Way to read my...
Yeah, at Borchers, right in front of the police station and in front of that project. That is an ODOT project. It's going through the ODOT permitting process.
And it's because of the proximity to their intersection.
Correct. And that right away, that road actually up close to, actually past the intersection, is owned by ODOT. So they're responsible for that part of the project. Equipment has been ordered. We've been working with the developer and with ODOT to try to ensure that the timing of the construction of the signal and the opening of the signal is complete in time for the opening of the new businesses. And that's going to be a pretty tight timeline. But there's been significant progress. ODOT has been a good partner to kind of expedite things. So,
because the new businesses that are going in there cannot get an occupancy permit until the intersection is built?
Correct. And we have been a little concerned, as well as the developer of the property, that those businesses would be ready to go and the signal would not be completed and operational. And as you just said, Mayor, we would not be able to issue a certificate of occupancy until that signal is up and running. So that's looking like October, November-ish at this point. But I do know, I talked to some folks and they're like, are they going to put a signal in there? And probably next month you'll see the activity related to putting the signal in at that intersection. That's a really tough intersection, especially at rush hour.
Yeah.
So you said there's 3 floors to that structure.
Correct.
Do we know how many, I guess it'd be called units, and who the operator is?
I don't know the number of units. It's going to be called, it's a company called the Ackerley. The Ackerley,
Okay.
which is another chain very similar to the Springs, which we have. And then what's the other one?
Avamere.
Avamere. So it's another private company that does assisted living and housing for older residents. That's a growing market with baby boomers retiring and getting older. So it's one of the newer Ackerleys in the Portland region. I think they have a significant number of locations up in the Seattle area. And then the Springs expansion is also on the horizon. That's probably going to start before the end of the summer construction season. So you'll see a lot of activity on the Springs site close to City Hall. They're doing a major expansion as well.
When do you expect the county road project to start, for people to know, on Kruger-Elwert?
The latest is, I've heard, a start date of 2019, so sometime next year. And it has to be completed before the high school is to be open. So they're working the school district is working very closely with Washington County and with ODOT to coordinate all the transportation improvements that need to happen prior to the opening of the high school. But in 2 short years, that high school will be ready to open. So a lot's going to happen and change over in that part of the community in the very near future. And then the other big project that I keep reminding folks that is on the horizon is the widening of Tualatin Sherwood Road and Roy Rogers. That will also, that's also on the horizon later in 2019, 2020. I know the county wants to get the roundabout and the improvements to the high school done first before getting the widening of Tualatin Sherwood Roy Rogers started.
So in theory, at the earliest that would start would be spring of 2020.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's on their website.
Yeah.
And
124th is nearing, if you've been going toward Tualatin on Tualatin Sherwood Road, 124th is rapidly nearing completion. That will be done at the end of this calendar year. The water pipe is going into the ground. They're doing significant work, and that is definitely on the horizon to open up, which will be another route to take in terms of getting around the greater Sherwood area.
Here.
A lot of these projects actually started many years ago when you were mayor previously, Mayor Mays, and it's taken a long time to come to fruition. So
Right?
I know.
5-year plan started 7 years ago.
I know.
A question with
Yeah.
when we were talking about the transportation for the high school, and there was a big conversation lately on the community Facebook page about the Sunset 99. Can you give an update on that? Will that be in conjunction with all the other changes?
That will be in conjunction with the construction, I guess, north of the Highway 99.
Right.
That will largely be in next year's budget for construction. You'll see city dollars to do the improvements on our side of Highway 99 on the YMCA side, but there'll need to be improvements as well, and do that all together at once. And hopefully in 2 years, or a little bit over 2 years, that intersection will be a lot easier to get through, a lot safer for everybody. I see a lot of those comments and concerns as well. So,
Quick question. Joe, in a work session where the county came and presented their planning for that intersection, there was a discussion about how to get our students from Woodhaven safely across that intersection, navigate that traffic circle into the high school. Has there been any more traction on looking at that particular
those
issue?
discussions with all the different partners, because the county's involved, the school district's involved, and ODOT, as well as the city, to try to make sure we maximize what we can within the dollars we have. We are also still looking at exploring some long-term improvements for some kind of overpass or something that wouldn't require people actually trying to cross that busy state highway as well. So that idea was discussed by the council and as a component of your goals that we look at improving pedestrian access across that highway at many points, but largely at that intersection. So nothing definitively at this point that I can report, but we're still having those conversations with the different partners.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the concept of maybe some alternate pathing through that thumb of land.
Yeah, there's space.
To reduce the amount of intersections our students have to cross.
Correct.
Yeah, I talked to Julia Hyduke, and I talked to Brad Kilby when he was here from the school district, so he's aware of that plan, that idea, that thought as well. So I think we just need to keep pushing, suggesting.
Encouraging.
Right.
Advocating.
There you go. How many more words can we say?
Engaging.
Being forward thinking, right? So,
Great.
one other thing, just you will not have a meeting the first Tuesday of the month of August. Your next meeting will be on August 21st. But because people will be free that night, that's also National Night Out, which is a large community event that happens over at the square, and each year attendance at that event grows. So I encourage everyone to attend National Night Out in early August. I think it's August 7th is the night.
Awesome. Other questions for Joe? Council announcements. Who'd like to start?
I'll go.
Shy.
I'm currently in the thought mode, so.
That's right.
I only have two things. The Parks and Rec Board is coming up on August 6th at 7 p.m. It's always a lot of fun. We're at the beginning stages of talking about the Parks Master Plan. So it's what do we want in Sherwood park-wise. We talked about facilities. We're talking about recreation activities. We have lots of great discussions. It's tons of fun. And the other big elephant in the room is Robin Hood Festival. So if you would still like to participate and volunteer in some way, I'm speaking to all those Sherwoodians out there, you can go to the website, Sherwood Festival, robinfestival.org, and there's a link you can send an email and say, hey, my husband and I would like to go man one of those barricades during the parade where 20,000 people will be gathered to watch that parade on Saturday at 10. So it's well attended. It'll be perfect weather, maybe not 83 degrees, but cooler than that. It'll be beautiful on Saturday. I think we have over 100 floats in the parade again this year. The council will be there, right? We'll all be on a float together, right?
Right now, we have 38 registered.
38, that's all we have right now?
Right now, but I'm told that we'll get several more in
Yeah.
between now and Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's like a rush at the end. As luckily, Renee is organizing that.
Luckily.
I'm just putting the village together and getting volunteers. She's doing the parade, so we're heavily involved. It is tons of fun. It's the 65th year, and it's been expanded this year, and I heard that our mayor is going to be in the beer garden on Friday night, so
Helping out,
helping
yes.
out. That's one way
Serving,
one way or the other, he'll be in the beer garden
or something. But
anyway, so don't miss it. It's tons of
volunteering.
fun. If you've not been, you need to come and experience it. Yes, that's it. That's all I've got.
Who'd like to go next? Councilor Young?
I have a list, and normally I don't. I attended a lot of meetings because people have been on vacation. So I attended Cultural Arts last night. We met the new center director, Shanda Hall. Very lovely lady, very nice and very energetic. Yeah, so I think looks like to be a good fit. They gave an update on the public art program, and the gentleman is anticipating presenting a draft to the commission in August. And they also approved the new fee schedule, which we had not approved in ours, and so they'll be bringing that back for us to approve. So I attended the senior center for Renee when I think she was in Canada or somewhere. That's just an exciting group. It was really fun to attend and learn what was going on there. And Maya puts together just this awesome monthly calendar that just is packed with things to do for our seniors. And then they've been putting their weekly menus on Facebook. And if you're looking at their food choices, you don't have to be a senior to go eat. And you might want to go eat some of this food because it looks fabulous. On Thursday, they're having a fashion show and tea party at 2 o'clock. It's $5. It's open to anybody who wants to come. The Maid Marian Court will be serving, and the fashions are provided by one of our local businesses, Hello Gorgeous Boutique. So I think it's going to be really a fun event. They just have all kinds of things planned. August, they're having Hawaiian Days, September, Western Days, and whatnot. They did have something they're wanting to look into, or finding out how they can get better signage in front of the senior center. And of course, the pie in the sky want would be an electronic reader board, but just somehow it's hard to find, the little sign. So just passing that along. Police Advisory Board is this Thursday night. On the agenda is staff will be doing a presentation on police staffing, and that'll kind of start off kick off the conversation that will eventually come to council, and we'll talk about staffing and how we go about that if we need more, and how we fund that and all that good stuff. The YMCA has their summer programs in full swing. I learned of some, I don't know if these are new programs or not, but they have what they're calling their lunch and learn programs, where you bring your lunch and learn about some healthy habits. They have one coming up July 20th on hormones, and that's being presented by Providence Medical Group. And then on August 9th, they're having one on how to manage chronic pain, and that is presented by Providence Physical Therapy. So the YMCA has all kinds of things as well, so you can check out their website, which is, go to theirs, go through the city website to find it, and that is it.
Council President, would you like to go?
Yeah, I'll describe a couple things. I have not attended too many meetings in the last month or so, so I will just kind of highlight some upcoming summer events. It looks like the heat is hopefully breaking for a few days. So we're not going to meet again until August 21st. So starting August 3rd are the movies in the park, Stella Olson. So we've got 4 movies going on in August this year. I've seen 3 of them, and I recommend they are. Well, funny you should ask. Despicable Me 3 will be on August 3rd. Coco, August 10th. Fantastic movie, great music. August 17th, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. That movie is PG-13.
Is that the original or the
That
remake?
is with The Rock.
Okay.
Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black, etc. And then Friday, August 24th is Beauty and the Beast, and that is the newer live-action version. That is the one I've not seen. My family has seen. I have not seen. I've seen the other 3, and I recommend them all very highly. So, so that's something for you and the family to do. One other thing that's I learned about last year, and other people may not be aware of, is the WCCLS, the Washington County Cooperative Library Services, who obviously Sherwood Public Library is part of, offers a cultural pass during the summers where you can actually get free passes to some of our museums and such around town. The Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum. I think sometimes the Wings and Waves Water Park, although that one's very popular. The Pittock Mansion, Oregon Garden, all these great things. So just do a Google search for WCCLS. cultural pass. If you have a library card with the Sherwood Library, which you should, you can actually just go ahead and reserve, go look on the calendar, find a date that works for you, and if those passes are available on the day, you reserve them and you get to go for free. So it's fantastic. Great way to spend a day here in the region this summer, and maybe on some of those hot days, it's a great place to be inside. So that's all I got.
That's pretty darn good. Thank you. Councilor Renee?
Yeah, that's fine. That works for me. As
I was going to go
Councilor,
with Councilor Tim too. So.
as Councilor Young stated, I was on vacation and in Canada for a week or so and missed a couple of my assignments. But Councilor Young attended and Councilor Kuiper attended for the library. But we have such a wonderful library director that she sends out this amazing report that just has all kinds of facts and figures about the library in here. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of different things. The one that astounds me the most is when I look at the report on value of monthly checkouts. If we didn't have, well, our library, when she calculates the amount that people would have to pay for if it wasn't being loaned by the library, 1.96 million. That's the end of the fourth quarter. So that's in a year. But it just astounds me the amount of circulation and use that our library gets. So we have a pretty phenomenal library. 139 events were delivered last quarter, 7,500 participants. In the whole year, there were 30,000 participants. So not only do they loan books and CDs and tapes and the library is stuffed, but they put on some pretty amazing events too. And they're involved in the community in other aspects as well. So pretty impressed with the library and all that they're doing. I also wanted to give a thank you to those in the community and those on council and in the city and so on and so forth. The organization that I serve on a paid-for basis, we were in a voting process for a significant grant, and it was because of the support of the community voting that made it happen. We actually came in first place, and we secured the grant. So thank you for those of you who took the time to vote daily in that 3-week period. It was a long window of voting, so the outcome was pretty positive. We are in Music on the Green season. Last Wednesday was a great concert by Ty. I can't remember his last name, but he did a really good job. And this week there's a variety group that's going to be playing. So that's in full swing. Next chamber meeting is actually August 21st, so it's not the second Tuesday of the month, and it'll be at Laurel Ridge. It's our annual event, our annual day that we go to the school and hear from the school district. So it's always a great chamber meeting. And let's see, here pretty soon we'll have a delegation of 14 Colombians coming, and you'll hear more about that. And that's what's consuming my time this week. But yeah, things are happening.
Awesome. Councilor Tim?
I got a couple things. I attended the Main Street Board meeting, just a couple things from that. I think, Joe, you've talked about this before, but they're very busy planning a 125th birthday celebration for Sherwood, which will be on September 13th. Have they officially announced what we're calling it?
I've actually seen posts on Facebook. I don't know if they've officially announced, but I think it's official.
If it's on Facebook, what is
It's on
it?
Facebook, so it'll be called the Front Porch Celebration, and they're going to be blocking off Railroad Street and be serving dinner, and there'll be historical displays set up, and then there'll be cake and celebration in Cannery Square. So, yes, yep. So they're busy planning that, and that's all coming together. Another just quick Main Street item. I've mentioned this before, but Main Street formed a parking committee for businesses to work on creative solutions for some of the parking challenges we have in our downtown core. They're going to be meeting with staff here this week. They've come up with a lot of creative ideas that go beyond just the normal, what we've talked about in the past, which is just adding spaces. They've come up with some great ideas. So I think Joe and Julia will be meeting with them on Thursday, I believe. Yeah. So from the Historical Society, their big fundraiser every year is running the beer gardens for the Music on the Greens. And so they're going to be out there. I'm bringing it up because they are looking for volunteers for alcohol monitors. Polly likes to call them bridge trolls. You basically stand on the bridges and make sure people aren't bringing alcohol in, their own alcohol in. But if anyone's interested in doing that, they're looking for volunteers. Send me an email and I can get you in contact with the right people for that.
I volunteer, Tim.
Of course you do.
Who goes there?
And just shout out to the Art Walk. Sharon and I did that in the heat last week. It was a lot of fun. A lot of amazing artists coming to town, and we actually ended up buying several items. And it was also nice that we have a lot of places to get refreshments along the way because it was hot that day.
Awesome. What else?
That's it.
Thank you. I'll keep it brief. A couple days next week, I'll be at the Oregon Mayors Association Conference. So that'll be good. And I don't believe we've mentioned for some reason, but maybe we'll talk about it again later on. But we had 2 other young adults in our community do something kind of cool last month. They were 2 of the starting 9 on the Oregon State Beaver baseball team that won the national championship. So,
and one of them was the MVP?
And one of them was the MVP. So, a big shout out to Zach Taylor and his family, and Adley Rutschman and his family. Very proud of them both and the entire team. But pretty cool that 2 from our fine community. And so Zach was a senior at Oregon State this year, so he's graduated. I'm assuming he graduated. He was supposed to graduate, my understanding. And then this is Adley's second year, so sophomore.
And the baseball tradition here in Sherwood continues. So my son plays on one of the Sherwood junior baseball teams. He's got districts coming up. But I happened to look at all the other district level tournaments, and the top 4 teams from the Sherwood West Side League go to state. And it's like every category has a Sherwood team, and in some categories 2 Sherwood teams going to state tournaments. So we have a lot of great youth sports in town, but baseball is still definitely a very strong sport in town. And we've got a lot of young kids. A lot of kids know about Adley and kind of like look at him and say, I want to be like him. He played at Sherwood High School and as a catcher, so the future's bright.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome for Zach and Adley, and like I said, who knows? We might be able to hook him in to a future meeting and give him the Sherwood spotlight a little bit. And other than that, I also returned to the senior center for lunch before the 4th of July week, and it was awesome yet again. So truly take advantage of that when you're hungry at noon and want to try something great. The 4th of July Woodhaven Neighborhood Parade was awesome, jam-packed with kids and dogs and parents walking, and that was a lot of fun. So we have a choice, council. We're wrapping up. We have an executive session and a URA board with the URA board, but in 4 minutes, a delegation of visitors from Columbia will be here. We have a proclamation for them. We can adjourn, have a quick exec session, then come back out for them in case they're not on time. Ben, are they on time?
Nice.
You think so?
They're on their way.
On their way. From Newburgh.
To make them wait if we got delayed in there. I'd rather.
Us take a 5-minute break.
That's my opinion.
Thoughts? Let's do that. So we will we'll recess for 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, she said they were on their way.
I am a bad judge of time so far today.
It was 6.
What? No, they're not
Estamos
all here
esperando
yet.
a Adriana. Adriana,
Yes.
por favor, viene por acá. Y algunos que quieren. A la mesa aquí. Sí, gracias.
And who else?
Juan Manuel. Sí. Bienvenidos.
Awesome. Sorry. Welcome. We're back in our city council meeting this evening. We took a brief recess, and we are excited today to welcome a Rotary delegation from La Plata, Colombia. Very exciting, and under presentations, what we want to do today is do a proclamation to celebrate and recognize our Rotarian friends for being here. So and then I'll let you repeat this in Spanish so that we're going to also I'll read a proclamation briefly in English, and then Renee will read it in Spanish. So do you want to explain that?
Pues bienvenidos. Estamos muy contentos que ustedes están aquí con nosotros en la ciudad de Sherwood. Primero, el alcalde Mayor Mays, él va a leerlo en inglés y entonces yo voy a traducirlo en español.
But and first, so I am a Rotarian, a Sherwood Rotarian. Councilor Renee Browse is a Sherwood Rotarian. Councilor Tim Rosner is a Sherwood Rotarian. City Manager Joe Gall is a Sherwood Rotarian, and we have other Sherwood Rotarians in the audience that we could embarrass, but we'll do that for afterwards. So I will do everything in English first, then let you do it in Spanish.
Okay, está bien.
Welcoming a delegation of the Sherwood Rotary Club of La Plata, Colombia. The Sherwood Rotary Club of Sherwood has been an active, engaged service club within the Sherwood community since their origin charter in 1994. The mission of Rotary International is to provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through its fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. One of the objects of Rotary is to encourage and foster ideal of service as a basis of worthy enterprise, and in particular to encourage and foster the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. The Rotary Club of Sherwood, along with the Newburgh Early Birds Rotary Club, has officially partnered with the Rotary Club of La Plata, Colombia since 2011. Forming an official sister city relationship. This international partnership has resulted in constructing and deploying water filters, 3 city parks, an ultrasound in the hospital, 49 sanitary systems, 25 computers, and a stove for a local preschool and an x-ray machine in the La Plata community. Each year, a delegation of Rotarians from both the Sherwood and Newburgh clubs have visited the sister Rotary Club in La Plata, developing relationships, learning about the Colombian culture, and exploring ideas and future projects. A delegation from the Rotary Club of La Plata is currently visiting Sherwood and Newburgh communities. It is comprised of accomplished and esteemed professionals and leaders from the La Plata community in Colombia. The city of Sherwood wishes to officially welcome and recognize the presence of these distinguished visitors from Colombia, and I, Keith Mays, Mayor of Sherwood, do hereby proclaim a warm welcome to our esteemed visiting delegates from the Rotary Club of La Plata, Colombia, and wish them a pleasant and educational visit to the Sherwood community. Now, Councilor Browse.
Okay. Proclamación de bienvenido a una delegación del Club Rotario de La Plata, Huila, Colombia. Declaro que el Club Rotario de Sherwood ha sido un club de servicio activo y comprometido dentro de la comunidad de Sherwood desde el estatuto original en 1994. Y declaro que la misión de Rotary International es brindar servicio a los demás, promover la integridad y promover la comprensión, la buena voluntad y la paz en el mundo a través de su comunidad de líderes empresariales, profesionales y comunitarios. Y declaro que uno de los objetivos de Rotary es alentar y fomentar el ideal de servicio como base de una empresa digna y en particular alentar y fomentar el avance de la comprensión internacional, la buena voluntad y la paz y a través de una comunidad mundial de profesionales y profesionales unidos en el ideal de servicio. Y declaro que el Club Rotario de Sherwood, junto con el Newburgh Early Birds Rotary Club, se ha asociado oficialmente con el Club Rotario de La Plata Huila, Colombia, desde 2011, formando una relación oficial de la ciudad hermana. Y declaro que esta asociación internacional ha resultado en la construcción y despliegue de filtros de agua, 3 parques, un otro sonido, 49 sistemas de saneamiento, 25 computadores y una estufa para un preescolar local y una máquina de rayos X en la comunidad de La Plata. Y declaro que cada año una delegación de rotarios de los clubes Sherwood y Newburgh visitó el Club Rotario en La Plata Huila, Colombia, donde han formado una relación oficial de hermandad, desarrollando relaciones, aprendiendo sobre la cultura colombiana y explorando ideas y proyectos futuros. Y declaro que una delegación del Club Rotario de La Plata está visitando las comunidades de Sherwood y Newburgh. Y declaro que esta delegación está compuesta de líderes profesionales, consumadas y estimadas de la comunidad de La Plata Huila, Colombia. Y declaro que la ciudad de Sherwood desea oficialmente dar la bienvenida y reconocer la presencia de estos distinguidos visitantes de Colombia. Ahora, por lo tanto, yo, Keith Mays, alcalde de la ciudad de Sherwood, doy mi más sincera bienvenida a nuestros estimados delegados visitantes del Club Rotario de La Plata Huila, Colombia, y los deseo una agradable y educativa visita a la comunidad de Sherwood y Newburgh. Hay regalos.
We have some gifts to give you, but if you want to say anything, you can say.
Hello. Oh. I better speak like this. I'm gonna say the words in Spanish first, so that they can give me more ideas. En el nombre del Club Rotario de La Plata Huila, los que estamos aquí presentes y de quienes están en La Plata, estamos muy felices de estar acá y muy agradecidos por tener esta oportunidad. Creemos que este es una evidencia de la fortuna que tenemos como club y que nuestra comunidad del municipio de La Plata tiene, por poder tener esta relación que con tantos años se ha ido consolidando y que creemos plenamente que en el presente y en el futuro vamos a continuar desarrollando mejor relación y mejor comunidad. ¿Algo más digo? Okay, listo. Okay, so good evening. Thank you so much for inviting us to this event. We are so excited to see and hear these words. We were not expecting this in our trip, so we are all feeling big emotions in our souls. So we are very thankful for this, and also we feel that this has been a really hard work during many years, and we have a strength, relationships, and very good connection between both clubs. And we are sure that our club has learned and has grown a lot, as the same as with our community of La Plata. And we are sure that from here to the future, we will continue doing many work for our people, and we are sure that you guys have also learned a lot from this whole experience. So we are very thankful for this, and we don't have words to describe. I'm sure everyone is feeling something very special from their hearts. So thankful. We're thankful for this. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So with that, anyone like to say anything? Lots of emotions up here too. So we're going to adjourn the meeting. We have some things to give you, and then we can mingle for a few minutes. But then we have to go into another meeting. So it has been wonderful for you to come to our city council meeting tonight. It means a great deal to all of us, and we're thrilled that you're able to spend time in our community as well as in Newburgh. So the council meeting is adjourned.